Why, hello there, chilly birds. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Starbirds. Episode 4, Time for a Winter Coat. Let's head to Ravsicle. Time for a winter coat. Wake up, flock. We've arrived in Ravsicle. You have to see this. Whoa, looks really inviting. I hope there's at least some treasure under all this ice and snow. That treasure is called data rust, and this system is full of it. But first, we need to set up the space station or we'll freeze to death. Freeze? Well, that's not how I like to start my Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Nice job, Stella. You broke the captain. Don't be such a doom squawker. First, let's grab a hot cup of coffee. Oh, that sounds good. And then we'll find a solution. I'm fine. We're all gonna be fine, provided we stick to my grand master plan. Gather resources, set up the station, find the strangelets, boom, promotions, glory, and possibly cake. I slept like a chick. Those cryo eggs are as comfy as our nest back in the day. So, do the achievements reward you with something other than pride? Not as I am aware. It's frosty here. Well observed, Herb. We need to insulate our corridors before we venture into this system. You must be telepathic, Stella. That is exactly what I was going to suggest. Great minds think alike. Let's do it. All right. So, we need to upgrade our station 2 levels. That would be the insulating. And there's new resources here, if you are wondering. So let's head down to this one, which has methane. And we will, what did this asteroid have? This asteroid has water and methane. Oh boy, so it doesn't have anything for the new module quest. Great. We'll supply uranium for the module quest then. So, I did land there, but let's land here instead. Also, I should say, because we need to supply uranium. And no uranium is near that landing pad, so guess what? I'm going to move the landing pad. Okay, uranium being supplied. While we're here, I am tempted to scan, but I don't really want to use up my my points for that. So let's go back and do extractions. And there's actually nothing to extract, so I'm just gonna pop my rover around to scoop up the goodies while we supply uranium to the HQ. Yeah, there is an upgrade menu for the rewards. So yeah, I'll show you that in just a second. I think go to rewards. So here in the rewards, you can unlock upgrades for your things. So the extractor can be upgraded to process faster, which obviously in last mission would have been easier, but I was just doing it without upgrades. The launch pad to have higher capacity, the solar power panels to have more output, speeding up processing, increasing the wealth that you get from rovers, and the upgrade points that I have here is earned through the achievements. You can also see all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that is the 6 currency up there. And like all of the goods that we have yet to find and all that. Thank you for that. Yeah. All right. So module quest. We'll have to scan, I think. So let's spend all the tech points for all of this, scanning them, and then I'll agree to one of these missions given what we find. So uranium and sulfur. So let's do the lab for uranium and the upgrade for uranium. I'm gonna want So we need sulfur being delivered for the lab. I'll drop my landing pad here. And I think I'll start using my upgrade points. So let's get the extractor upgrade. And the launch pad upgrade. The processor and the solar. And in order to upgrade, you would have to spend tech points. So here's like a tier 2 extractor. Which in this map, there was a achievement to like reach X stars without ever upgrading a building. So I've already not done that, but I wanted to show you the upgrade path instead. All right, lab is done. And now our station has had 2 upgrades, meaning it's like warm enough. All right, that's a lot better already. Next mission, look for the strangelets. After all, that's what we came here for. All right, so find a strangelet is the victory condition. And the next thing I'll supply is an engine room for silicon. So warping back out, let's settle somewhere with silicon. And using tech points again to increase our tier 1 extractors to a tier 2. Next supply will be sulfur. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to find where the strangelet is. Now you'll actually physically see the strangelet on an asteroid. So I entered this one and I could see it from space. So I'll just redo that. You see that purple thing there? That's obviously the strangelet, so we know which asteroid it's on. So if I settle here, well, pluck me and call me a roast. Is that what I think it is? Finally, we get to the good stuff. I'll bet my birdseed that there's some alien relic inside. Oh, or an actual alien. Easy, we gotta get inside it first, and it's frozen up real good. So now we need to free it. The next thing I want to supply, let's get some science points. So let's get methane. There ain't much water here, at least not liquid. So what's with these icy patches on some of the nearby asteroids? Well spotted. At these temperatures, fluids and gases like water and methane freeze solid. Stella, let's research those ice extractors you designed. They could solve a problem. So an ice extractor will allow us to extract methane. But for that, we need a little bit more science. So we need to fulfill some sort of fulfillment here, like this one, to get the science for it. And then here's the extraction hub, dropping on the new strangelet. All right, let's defrost this popsicle. But first, we need water for the extractor's engine cooling system. So this thing needs water. Got it. In order to get water, we need to research the ice extractors because the water is locked up in ice. It's not a liquid at these temperatures. So this is the highest priority, supplying uranium for science. So let's go over to the uranium asteroid and set up uranium extraction. So I'm just going to do 2 extractors because that will get the job done quick. We're also getting uranium from here. I forgot. Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. In fact, I can even go to this station and refund everything. We put it somewhere else. So as soon as the uranium is supplied to HQ, we'll be able to start researching the ice extractor to get methane and water. Or supplying the silicon too, because the silicon is yet another quest. All right, there's all our science points that were needed. Perfect. So in order to get the ice extractor, we need to supply sulfur and aluminum. Copy that. So there's aluminum on this planet, or asteroid. I keep calling it planet. It's not a planet, obviously. There we go. And that is the highest priority that we've got so far. So that's what we're going to get next, the ice extractor. There we go. Good to have those ice extractors handy for our water supply. I was worried about my greenhouse hatchlings. It's quite easy. Placed on an icy patch, they begin isolating and extracting the constituent components. So let's set them up. So one of the quests we have right now is to supply this one, supplying water to our hub. So let's go where there's water. Hit an ice extractor. Like this. So first we want like a launch pad. So do a launch pad here. An ice extractor here. Drag that over. I'll do 2 ice extractors. And that turns into liquid water. And then that launches to here to supply the hub. So set up a landing pad, like that. And now let's hook it up. This water goes to the landing pad. And that will be the first stage of the strangelet extraction. The other thing we need is to build the reactor for our space station, we need methane. So let's set up methane extraction. And this, and this is pretty easy. So here we go. Ice extractor, launch, ice extractor, launch. And that will supply methane to our space station for the lab that I wanted. I've got a theory on how to crack this one open, but I need to run some tests. Can you get some plastic so I can build a prototype? Got it. So, supply plastics to the hub. Alright. Now that we are done supplying the water to the hub, I'm going to change the destination of the water to the HQ. And let's work on making plastics. So if we open up the wiki, plastic is refined hydrocarbon, and hydrocarbon is chem-labbed water plus carbon, and carbon is methane and oxygen. So a asteroid that has methane and water is going to be ideal. So this one has methane and water. So we're going to get ice extractors for water and methane. And then, oops. Build a chem lab where we take the methane and the water and turn it into carbon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that carbon and send it to HQ. And then, oh, why is it gooping? Oh, right, this is, oh, I did this wrong. All right. First, we... Oh, it needs to be oxygen, sorry. So, methane and oxygen, so we need to refine the water. There we go. That will self-correct. So I've been sending goop to my HQ. They're probably like, what the hell? All right, so there we go. There's carbon. Now again, if we want plastics, it is water plus carbon equal, in a chem lab, equals hydrocarbon. And then hydrocarbon gets refined into plastics. So, some of the carbon is getting shunted off to HQ. And then we're going to take the other carbon and combine it with water for hydrocarbons. So chem lab, we'll put it here. This is going to become spaghetti really fast, but that's fine. We extract more water and feed that to the chem lab. So now this chem lab is taking carbon and water to make hydrocarbons. And then I'm going to shunt the hydrocarbons off, some to the launch pad, which means I'll upgrade this launch pad to have more capacity because it's going to get hooked up by a lot of stuff. So there we go. We're now making hydrocarbons. And then in order to make plastics, we just refine the hydrocarbons in a refiner. So refiner, oops. And then launch the subsequent plastics to HQ. And there we go. Okay. I'm going to get rid of the water supply for this thing. And instead hook the water supply up to this pad, because this pad had empty spots. Makes more sense. So if we take a look here, the plastics need to then... Actually, we did this wrong. The plastics need to go to the hub, not to home. So, let's fix that. A refinery to make plastics. And then I'm going to split the plastics. Some will go to this launch pad, and then some will go to this launch pad. This launch pad has plastics. This launch pad sending it back home. And the new launch pad is going to want to send that plastic over to where the strangelet is. So this, connect to that. And the landing pad here then accepts plastics and builds out the extraction facility. There we go. That's done right now. Okay. So we should be getting, we should be receiving stuff on this landing pad soon. Currently it's full of water, but actually let's delete it and set it back up. Do I have a burb? I have many burb. Well, let's make sure the plastic's being supplied to that launch pad. So, this is the plastics launch pad? Yep. It's got plastics. And in a moment, you'll see the launch from here to there supplying plastics. Perfect. Alright, currently we agreed to make a greenhouse, and that requires oxygen. We are not actually supplying oxygen to the HQ, so let's fix that. Pretty easy fix. So, instead of supplying 2 water to HQ, one of these water going to become oxygen. Done. Upgrading the refiner. Oh, I don't have the ice extractor upgraded yet. Done. And upgrade the ice extractor. Cool. So raising this priority. Oh. Yeah, that's about to get finished. So the next thing we need to do is to research or unlock the components lab, which is acids. So acids is sulfur plus water in a chem lab. So taking a look, there's both sulfur and water here. So this seems like a good place to create acid. So, oops. Sulfur plus water in a chem lab makes acid. Done. Let's agree to build a treasury. The treasury requires quartz, and quartz is silicon plus water, and there happens to be both silicon and water here. So, chem lab, water, silicon, and that one's done too. And I'll upgrade them just so it goes a little faster. Okay, component lab is done. So if you take a look at the hub that we had, the hub is about to receive the last shipment of plastic right now. Making that prototype was easier than stealing a worm from a warbler. I can build a custom excavation tool. All I need is some ceramics, electronic components, and energy. Let's get flapping. Ruth? You know, I'd never stop you from cooking up crazy inventions, but safety gear wouldn't hurt. How about a mask? Never fig you for a health and safety type. Thanks for looking out. Alright, so this is the main goal. And power is really easy, so we can start with power. In this case, there doesn't seem to be a bright spot. So we'll just add 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Power is now supplied to this, and then we'll work backwards. So the this landing pad I'm going to cut because we no longer need to send plastics here. So let's trace that back and stop sending plastics because it's not needed, which would be this launch pad. So now all the plastics is sent back to HQ. And I'm just sort of like accepting these willy-nilly. I'm not even really looking. All right, let's figure out what the rest we need. So the rest we need is ceramics. Ceramics is aluminum plus carbon equals ceramics in a crucible. So the planets or the planetoids with aluminum, this one, and this one. And then carbon is methane and oxygen. So this here has methane and oxygen, methane and water, which makes oxygen, which then can be made into carbon. So let's go ahead and set up a carbon export here. So again, just to trace that back, in order to get the ceramics, we need aluminum and carbon. And what I'm doing is I'm setting up carbon exports on this asteroid. Let's also reroute this so that it's less goofy. That way this pad isn't like landlocked. All right, so if we want to do carbon exports, that's methane and oxygen in a chem lab. So we need space. Yeah, this will work perfect. So we'll have methane and oxygen in a chem lab. 1, 2. And then this needs to launch because we're not actually going to make it here. So now we're going to be exporting carbon once all that gets set up. the other ingredient for the carbon, or the other ingredient for the ceramics, is aluminum. So we'll set it up on a new asteroid. Let's set it up over here. Somewhere fresh where it's not going to get convoluted quickly. So what we want is a landing pad. We'll plop it here. So now we take the launch and drag it over so that the... Oh, I must have messed up because it's exporting goop. Oh, because it's supposed to be oxygen. Yep, I do that a lot. All right, let's turn the water into oxygen. There we go. Living quarters, sure. All right, so soon we'll be importing carbon, not goop. And the goop, or sorry, the carbon, will need to be further refined. So in a crucible, which requires power and a small crater, it's aluminum plus carbon. So we'll put a crucible here in the light. Put 2 solar panels. So now that's powered. This takes, for now, the goop, but eventually this goop will turn into carbon once we remove enough goop from the line. And then aluminum as the other reagent. That makes ceramics. And initially I can feed the ceramics back to HQ because HQ wants to build living quarters out of ceramics, but then eventually this launch pad will be rerouted to our excavation hub because the excavation hub needs it too. So the first few cycles of this is going to be just like garbage because I screwed it up, but then eventually it will be correct. And there it is, ceramic being produced. So the first 4 ceramics are going to go to the living quarters, and then I'll reroute it. So then the last thing we need to figure out is circuit boards. Circuit boards is acids plus silicon in a components lab. So if we go out to the map, silicon is 1, 2, 3, and then acids is sulfur and water. So this thing has sulfur, water, and silicon. So this can make the, this can do sort of all of it together, which is ideal. I don't care. We're not even building this. Okay. So now, what we want to do is reroute this ceramics to the strangelet to supply for this goal, which is now being supplied. So the last part is the circuit boards. So let's get making on the circuit boards. So again, just to recap, circuit boards are silicon plus acid, and acid is sulfur plus water. So we'll do the acid first. So we've got, where's my water on here? Water plus sulfur in a chem lab is acid. So we've got the acid. And then silicon plus acid. So we have acid and silicon. Silicon and acid in a components lab makes a circuit board. Components labs require power. So build 2 solar panels, hook it up, and now this needs to launch to our extractor site. If we go over to the extractor site, I probably need another landing pad because we're sending 2 things at once. So we'll set up another landing pad. Drag both landing pads into the extractor site. And then let's reroute the circuit boards to be sent where they're needed. And now if we take a look, everything is being transferred to the extractor, which is the victory condition. And I'll fast forward some time. Boop, 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 and we're done. Finally, that nugget has thawed. Now we just need to open it. Hurry up, Stella. I want to join the others for Herb's birthday party. A lot of peeping. Don't crowd around it like that. We have no idea if it's safe. Shoo, shoo. Peep, peep. It's humming, you say? I can't hear anything, but maybe the frequency's too high for my audible range. What are you talking about, Stella? Lays a wing on the outer shell. Oh, I can feel it in my feathers now. I still need to run some tests. Could it be drawn to the other strangelet? Coming over, Captain. Time for winter coat has been completed. As you can see, I didn't really bother with the other achievements, but what is done is done. Thank you for tuning in to Starbirds, which regularly stream live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Starbirds.